So essentially, if you just look at the ayahs, I mean, this is so crazy to me that the larger traditional body of Muslims, particularly Sunnis and Shias and the like, they actually view this as a believer. And the traditional names they're given are just kind of appropriated from the Bible into Arabic. So Abel becomes Habeel, and then Cain becomes Qabil. You know, Habil is actually related to like idiocy in Arabic. Like if you call someone Ahbal, that means like you're an idiot. And this is very fitting for this type of person, honestly, because they actually fear Allah, Lord of the worlds. How could that be the case? I thought this is something that Shaitan does. Shaitan is literally making himself a god of sorts, kind of a puny god. And he himself is aware of Allah, and he is saying, Akhaf Allahu Rabbil Alameen. This is the only other time that Shaitan, something other than Shaitan, says this exact thing. And what's interesting too is this, I guess, martyr, quote unquote. I wouldn't consider him a martyr in any way. He says that, I want you to obtain my sin and your sin, so you'll be among Ashab al-Nar. That is the recompense of the what is it? I think it's Zalimin, yeah. The Zalimin is probably accurate to describe his brother that kills him in the end. However, he has the wrong understanding. You know, like Sheikh Othman, the wife stealer, he probably said, he's on the wrong aqidah. But that's why, like, you can't actually bear someone else's burden. There is no bearer of burdens. That's Christianity. This is like a proto-Nasara mindset in a way. And so what happens is his soul permitted to him the murder of his brother. Why would the soul permit him? I mean, it's such a poetic way for Allah to speak. Well, maybe the soul is connected to the presence of shayateen in humanity. Because remember, if this slain son of Adam is actually Ad, and that's why we never get this word for Qawm Ad or Qawm Thamud, it's just mentioned as a name, as if it's like a race or something, or a land or whatever. So wouldn't that make sense that the only thing that whispers in the Quran is the nafs and also shaitan? Waswas al-khannas min al-jinnati wan-nas. So yeah, you see like these kind of mirrored connections. And it's interesting because it says the murder of his brother, so he killed him and became among the khasirin. The khasirin are people actually in hellfire. And what's interesting about this is this seems to reflect the mentality of the person slain, the brother, and not actually the assailant. So that proves the point that this is actually talking about Habeel, and Qabeel is actually, the assailing one. That's the Zalimin and the one who's Nadimin. All of these words are not poetry. They're identifying where everyone fits in the story. And so we're not told about a third party in there, but clearly there would have to be some kind of a middle ground in that sense, which is why Israel is chosen upon the worlds, upon the domains of all life. And that's why Israel is mentioned, as Brazen mentioned, that right after. So, it's just like even in the Bible, you have the same paradigm where there's a third one called Seth, which is where all the prophets are descended from, and all the messengers and all the kings of Israel and everything. So the genealogy is very tricky. It's about as tricky as a geography of the Quran, but it's radically different, at the very least radically different than what we get in the Bible and Hadith.